Hello, SCCA parents, and welcome to the 2020-2021 school year. Now, I got a lot of requests on the last video that I did that was discussing the parent homepage to discuss the scheduler. And there has been a bit of a misconception when it comes to the scheduler. Oftentimes, there are people who say that you can run the scheduler, and there are parents who advise against doing it. There is a specific way to tell if it does need scheduling, and it's pretty simple to tell on the homepage. I didn't mention this last time, but this is a symbol that shows that your scheduler is all good to go, all your lessons are fine, there's no overdue lessons, there's no conflicts, everything is okay, and you don't really need to run the scheduler. However, if the icon is showing up with a red clock with an exclamation mark near it, then you need to probably look at what needs to be done and see what you can do and run the scheduler. Now, there is something that I do want to point out before we get started, and it does depend on what grade level you are in and what courses that your student is taking. So let's go to the student planner to go explain it to you. So as you can see here, we have our students' courses for the beginning of the semester, but you can see here that there is a yellow course and there is a pinkish course. These are different from each other, and there is a specific difference between them when it comes to running the scheduler. If you are in high school and or middle school and you have courses that look like this, that means that these courses are fixed and they cannot be run on the scheduler. You can't fix it, and if you have overdue lessons, then you need to work on your own time to get those back on track. However, if your courses look like this with a pinkish hue to it, then that means they can be scheduled, and if you do have overdue lessons, you can set it at a different day to start it and you can get back on track. So as you can see here, we can simply click the Run the Scheduler button, and it should take us to the screen right here. Now, when you look at it right here, you can also see that there is a blue icon over here, so it does say that it doesn't require scheduling. So if it does show up like that, then you don't have to. However, if you do just want to change like how many lessons your student has per day or what courses show up on specific days, then you can still run the scheduler. Now, there are 4 steps to run the scheduler, and it is to set the household calendar, to set a start date, to schedule the lessons, and then to review the schedule. Now, I'm going to be going through every single one of these steps so you can get a good feel for how the scheduler works and what you should and shouldn't do. Now, as you can see here, we do have step 1. This does state the household calendar shows events that pertain to all users in the household. All events on the household calendar appear on the planner for each of the users in the household. In this case, if you have 2 students who are enrolled in Connexus Academy, then the events that you put on this household calendar will show up for both of them. In this step, review the household calendar. If you are running the scheduler for all users in the household, you can customize this household calendar by adding or removing personal events, such as a family vacation or a doctor's appointment. Then you can schedule lessons around these events. You may also be able to add or remove school calendar events. Now, there is a difference between the household events and the personal events. To read it here, to add a personal event, select a date on the calendar below. In the month view, you can select anywhere on the date, in a week or day views. You must select a specific time the event will start. To add an existing personal event, select the event on the calendar to modify its information. To delete an existing personal event, select the X in the upper right corner. Now we have school events. To add school events to the household calendar, you can click the Add or Remove Calendars link below. Check or uncheck the box next to a school calendar to add or remove its events from your household calendar, and select the Save button. The events from any of the selected school calendars will now appear on the household calendar, although some school calendar events cannot be removed from your household calendar. There are a few notes that you need to read here. It does say only user-scheduled lessons can be arranged around personal events. Fixed schedule lessons, as I mentioned, which are the yellow lessons or courses that appear on your calendar, have a predetermined lesson distribution because students are expected to complete lessons at the same time to participate in group discussions and class activities. If you make any changes to the household calendar, you must complete the remaining steps in the scheduling process for the student's lesson schedule to accommodate changes. If you add too many personal events to the household calendar that affect the lesson schedule, the date of the last scheduled lesson for a course may extend beyond the mid-year point or end of the school year. So basically what this last one means, if it's a little bit confusing for you to understand, is that if you do add too many events that do pertain to moving, how many courses show up per day, or if courses show up on a specific day, then you may run over the deadline of when you should have those courses finished, whether it be the end of the first semester or the end of the school year. Now what you can do is that you can click on a day. So let's say we want August 19th. We can click on it. So now we have the day set up. So if you wanted to select a new appointment, you could put the name of it right here. So if you had like a doctor's appointment, you would write that here. Now, this checkbox is important. If you do click on this checkbox and it affects the schedule, it does say here that the scheduler will not schedule any lessons on the day of the event. So if you were to have a family vacation on a specific day or days, and you don't want any lessons to show up, you would need to click this checkbox. You can also set a start time, and this is required just to be sure. And you can hit a specific day, and it can end on a specific day. And if it ends at a specific time, you need to uncheck this checkbox that says all day. So you can get a time slot. So if it starts at 1 p.m. and you need it to end at, say, 2 o'clock, then it would show up right there. If you do have a recurrence, then you can say how long it's going to recur, whether every hour, every day, every week, every month, or every year, and what day of the week, if you do click weekly, it's going to show up. You can also click no end date if there is no specific end date, but if there is, you can click end after blank occurs or end by this specific days. Once you're finished adding all your events to this calendar, and I did not mention, you can also move along the different months right here. So if you wanted to go to September, just click on this. But once you're finished with that, you can click on the next icon and it'll take you to the next step. So now that we have the next step, it says set a start date. So select the day when new or rescheduled lessons should start appearing on the planner. Any incomplete or overdue lessons will also be rescheduled starting on this date. So if you do have any overdue lessons, and this is why you are trying to reschedule it, then the overdue lessons will start on a specific day that you set. All completed lessons will remain on the date they were originally marked complete, and below you can select today or a future date as a start date. Do not set a date in the past. If you choose to set the start date for each course individually, enter the start date for a new course in the start date column. There are notes here too. It says you cannot set a start date prior to a course's original start date, so you couldn't be able to set it before the semester began. If a course's start date is today and there are completed lessons for that course, new lessons may also be scheduled today. So this is why it's important to make sure you read everything. And if you do set that, make sure there is a checkbox at the very end of the scheduling process that does say that it will not affect today. So just be able to look out for that. And the third message is that do not set start dates in the past. If this does occur, lessons may be scheduled on days that are blocked. So if you do look between these two, there is an option that says set today as a start day for new or rescheduled lessons in all courses. Do be careful when you do click this option. As it mentioned in the second statement, if you have completed lessons already and you are finished for the entire day, do not click this option because you will have a whole new array of lessons to complete. However, if you select this option, you can select a new date, such as if it's the end of the week, you can select Monday as the new date you want to start it. Or if it's just the night before the day you want to start it, then simply just select the day you want to use. So say it's Saturday right now, so say we wanted it to start on Monday, we could select Monday, August 17th for it to start. But we can't do that because it's before the original start date, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. So if you schedule it on a weekend and you want the lessons to start on Monday, then just click on Monday, August 17th. Or if it is the middle of the week and it's like Wednesday evening, or if you've already completed all the lessons, then you can select the second option, which is set the start date for new or rescheduled lessons. Set it for Thursday morning instead of Wednesday because it's just going to be troublesome for everyone. You can set today as a start date if it's still relatively early in the morning and you haven't completed any lessons yet. So just make sure you do check if you have completed them and you know what you're doing. So now we get to step 3, which is the schedule lessons. So here you can specify the number of lessons for each course that should appear on the planner each day of the week. Select the Schedule Now button to schedule lessons on the planner. The scheduling process may take a few moments, so please be patient. There is a note here. It says if you do not specify enough lessons per week, the date of the last lesson for a course may extend beyond the mid-year point or end of the school year. So here, as you can see, we have a list of all the courses and when they occur. So as you can see here, let's take Art 5 for example. At the moment, we have Art 5 being held on Wednesday and Friday, and we have 2 classes for the entire week. If we did, however, want to schedule art on Monday, simply change the 1 to a 0 and change the 0 on Monday to a 1. The 1 shows how many lessons of art you want to show up on that day, so make sure you only put 1. You can basically do the same thing you want with everything else, so it's simple as that. As I said here, if you are in a middle school or a high school course and it is a fixed schedule, you are going to be unable to change when those courses show up. So once you've finished editing this, you can click the Schedule Now button, and it's going to give you a little warning right here. It says the scheduler will now begin scheduling. It may take a few minutes to complete the scheduling process. If you wish to make changes after the new schedule has been created, you will need to run the scheduler again. So click OK and wait for it to start scheduling. So as you can see here, we have a little bit of a please wait, just to be patient because it does take a little while. So step 4, we have the review schedule. This allows you to review the lesson distribution you have entered and note the last day for each lesson of the course. If this date occurs past the mid-year point or the last day of school, you may want to make further scheduling changes. If you do need to make adjustments, select the previous button to modify other steps. Any changes you make will not be applied until you click the Schedule Now button again in step 3. If no further changes are needed, the schedule shown will be the student's new schedule. If you are satisfied with it, you can click the Finish button. So as you can see, if you're kind of questioning, if you don't know when the last lesson is, it shows up right here. And it is giving you a bit of a message that says this should be completed by this date. Please adjust the lesson distribution. So you can go back and fix it until this all goes away. Just make sure it's all distributed equally so your student doesn't have as many lessons to complete per day. As you can see down here at the bottom, that's bold in black, you can see how many lessons your student has per day. So make sure you don't schedule too less or too many. Once you're finished, you should hit the Finish button, and you shall return to the main page. If you want to check how your lessons have been scheduled, you can click the Student's Planner, and that's pretty much how the scheduler works. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far to the video, thank you very much. Please support our Patreon. It's in the link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any more comments, then please leave them below and I will make sure to answer it or create a follow-up video if you do request it. That's all I have for today. Bye!